Hello everyone, welcome back to Baldur's Gate 3 Overexplained. Last time we defeated the owlbear and left its cub to feast on its mother's remains. In fact, that cub is still there, just chowing down. And we are ready to make our exit, but just before we do, there was that spear that we recovered. Now, one of you lovely folks in the comments informed me that we could fix that now, because I was waiting to get to a workbench where you can combine two objects like a recipe. However, apparently if we just go right click and combine with
assume nothing.
The shaft, we now have the Vision of the Absolute. I didn't even know this was a magic item. 1d6 piercing, 1d8 piercing if two-handed, versatile weapon. Versatile, dippable, can't be dual wielded. The holder of this item gains Absolute Night. Chance to blind target. Deals an additional 2d6 piercing damage to certain creatures that sport multiple sets of eyes. So what would that be like? Spiders? Certainly spiders. I don't know if, not Ents, but the other one. We will find them later, I'm sure. But I'm going to pass that over to Lae'zel right now.
Blackets will be done.
And right now we have a longsword that's 1d8 slashing, one-handed. This is 1d6 piercing damage one-handed, or 1d8 piercing two-handed. So our damage will go down. We also get fewer interesting actions with a spear. It also does not have any additional range, so it's a fairly standard weapon, but we'll keep it on hand, trying to figure out what things might have 2d6 piercing damage when they have extra eyes. So that is an interesting one to have. Thank you ever so much to the commenter that let me know I could do that right now. I wonder how many occasions that's been a possibility that I've completely skipped over. Right, Astarion is quite injured. How are we doing for spell slots on our spellcasters?
Blood.
Still a reasonable amount, so I think right now
There's no time to waste.
we have Prayer of Healing, but we don't have any second level spell slots to spare.
Watch your back.
So we'll start with a short rest. Lae'zel and Shadowheart get some healing from that, and then Astarion, if you have a potion to spare, we've got 12 here, we can split those a bit. Hand 3 over to Astarion,
Feel different.
and 19 of 24 HP seems suitable.
I could get used to this.
Right, he can lead the party, as he's going to want to jump over this running water as best he can. Alright, we still took 1 acid damage, but could have been worse. And we will head back on outside of the cave. I'm amazed that the magic item could be broken into 2 pieces. Typically, there's kind of a... I don't know if it's a written rule or an unwritten rule that magic items by definition are slightly more hardy than non-magic items. But we are going to press on.
Don't linger.
Now, just across here, we can find one very good boy. Now, who has the best animal handling? That's going to be a wisdom check, I think. Yep, so +1,
Indolence breeds madness.
+1. Probably Shadowheart then, as our cleric. +3. I know Gothic Lord does not have it, so Shadowheart is going to approach this dog.
I'd better do the talking.
Arf, arf, grarf, arf. Reach out and pet the pooch. So we can do perception, animal handling, as we expected. Then there's perception and intimidation. Well, let's have a look at what's going on first. That's also a wisdom check. DC 10, and we can give ourselves some guidance. Nat 20. Very nice.
You see a name etched into the leather. Scratch.
Now we have the same options as before, or we can say, it's alright, Scratch, I'm not going to hurt you, and he might recognise his own name. You're okay.
With a deep, heartbroken whine, the dog bows his head.
Come on, follow me.
He whines, but remains rooted by the corpse's side.
Right, we're going to hold out our hand so he can smell our scent and follow us back to camp. Now, of course, if we had a potion of animal speaking, or the spell Speak with Animals, we would be able to do this in other ways, but as for now, that seems to be all we can do there. We will leave that person's possessions with their body. Now, after that, we come to this great big area above us. So there's this barn here, and then next to that, there is an entire village's worth of encounters around here. So I think we're going to come along this edge and not go through that door. What I'm looking for is this set of vines here. We can climb up these knotted roots.
Aren't you worried your kind will punish you for consorting with us?
My name is Lazelk Chucky, and my kin will understand my need for servants.
Plans.
They will help you,
Looks like
but
someone
only
was
if
intending
I
to forge
ask.
weapons.
So, over here we have a sleeping, scrawny bugbear. This gives us a good opportunity to discuss advantage when attacking an unconscious or prone creature. So, if a creature is prone, when you attack it with a melee attack from within 5 feet, the attack will be at advantage. Now, it doesn't say advantage over on the left there, it just says 100% chance to hit. So I don't know if the game is calculating that as being advantage, and because it's a 100% chance to hit, not telling us otherwise, or whether it's just not calculating it any other way. But we are 100% chance to hit because we're attacking an unconscious creature, and because they are incapacitated and they are prone, we have advantage to hit them, and if we hit them, it is guaranteed to be a critical hit. So, if they are prone and awake, it's advantage. If they are prone and unconscious or incapacitated, it will be advantage and a guaranteed crit. So if we take our sneak attack melee here, we are attacking with advantage, and if we pull out our information here, so this guy has 21 HP. Sneak attack melee 1d6 plus 3 plus 2d6 will be 2d6 plus 3 plus 4d6. Because it's guaranteed to be a critical hit, as it says there. And we get the fun animation. So this is where spells like sleep can be very powerful, because if you can incapacitate your target and cause them to be unconscious, the next attack against that target will be a critical hit, and if you can do that with something like a sneak attack where you're going to roll 3 dice, you're instead going to roll 6 dice. If we had put poison on our weapon for an additional 1d4 poison damage, then that would have been an extra 2d4 poison damage, because the poison die also doubles. Or if you have something like a magic sword that does 2d6 slashing damage plus 1d6 fire damage, it would double all those dice as well. So that guy is very dead. We can take their stuff. I'll leave the weapons. Weapons are generally quite heavy. And they were digging something over here. We get some malachite.
One step at a time.
So over here we have this very large village with lots of kind of smaller encounters in it. One of which is over here at this windmill. There is this wide open space where there is an ambush. There is this house at the back where there are some ogres. And at the back of this building in that courtyard there are more enemies still. So I think now is often a good time to discuss one of the other wonderful abilities that we have in this game. Rather than doing everything with conflict, there is a hierarchy of power among certain races within the realm of Baldur's Gate. And so this will be different depending on what setting your D&D game is in, but in this setting of Baldur's Gate, goblins are subservient to drow. And that is kind of a dark elf from the Underdark, with grey skin, better dark vision. But none of us are drow. So how could we become drow? Well, if we had something like polymorph, we might be able to polymorph ourselves into a drow, although that's not true, because polymorph lets you change into a beast, and drow are humanoids, not beasts. So that would not work. But if you were a changeling, you might be able to change your skin. If you were a warlock with Mask of Many Faces, you could turn yourself into a drow. But here we have a cleric,
I'm ready.
and our cleric has the Disguise Self spell. Magically change all aspects of your appearance, always prepared. So this is a first level spell, takes an action and a spell slot. And then we get this menu, and this gives us all of the available races in Baldur's Gate currently that we can turn into. And it gives a femme and masculine version of each. So we want either of femme or masculine for a drow. So tieflings, elf, half-elf, halfling. For some reason these are never quite in alphabetical order. Githyanki, human. So the last ones here we have mask drow and femme drow. So if we select that one and then select Shadowheart, because it is a spell that only targets self, we can now see that Shadowheart's appearance has entirely changed to one of a femme drow. We can see that in her character portrait as well, and we can see that she currently has the status of Disguise Self. Appearance is entirely changed. Now, if we were going to go and interact with other types of creatures that we might not want to present as a drow, we can instead come down here. In our menu, we now have the Dispel Disguise option. So we can dispel the disguise and revert to our original form. So, now that we are a drow,
There is work to do.
we can go ahead and find some goblins that we want to say, hey, this is our turf now. Stop causing us problems.
Onward then.
So a great opportunity to do that is up on the windmill here. You sent Moonrise Drow, because otherwise I'll have to cut you.
As the symbol glows, power courses through you. Authority.
So we can use our deception, or our intimidation or persuasion, or we can use our illithid powers, because we have that worm in our head. We can use that to assign power to some of our actions. So we really don't want to have a fight with the dozen or so creatures here, so let's use our illithid powers here. So that's going to be a difficulty class 0 check. We can still fail it though if we roll a natural 1. But no such issue today. God, yes, true soul.
A shiver runs across your mind. You feel sated.
Don't let me keep you, boss. Lads, we're gathered by the windmill. So, Gothic Lord UK is inspired. Charlatan, trick the goblins in Moonhaven. So, we've tricked someone who is on watch. That seems to have been this one up here. And now that is done, we can go and approach the rest of them.
Been good. What have we got here? Oh, stop this thing!
The goblin seems unsure whether to bow to you or attack.
What do you want? What do you need?
Leave immediately. This prisoner is mine now. When in doubt, just act confident, right?
You want to take that little pipsqueak? But we're supposed to take him hostage! But you know that, of course. Don't ya? You are blessed, ain't ya? A true soul?
The mark glows, but you feel nothing in response. Your illithid power is beyond reach until you rest.
So we just used our illithid power as we walked in on the other goblins, so we can't use it twice. But now we can do a performance, a deception, or an intimidation check. So we don't have any charisma abilities, so let's just say nothing and stare him down. And it's only a 5 on that check, and we can give ourselves advantage with the we can give ourselves plus 1d4 with the guidance cantrip, or we can cast Charm Person as a level 1 spell to get advantage on that check. Once the spell ends, the creature knows it was charmed and might accuse the spellcaster. So with such a low check, I don't think we need advantage. Shadowheart looking to the skies there, possibly at the gnome going round in circles.
Pardon, madam, I didn't mean to doubt you. I know my place. Well, that's that. We'll be on our way. Do as you like with the pipsqueak.
The goblins slink backwards, afraid to take their eyes off you.
Alright, away with you.
Come on, you lot, hop it!
So you can intimidate them and interrogate them more if you wish. But I'm trying to do explaining here without too many spoilers. So, this lot are all going to scour.
No time
They're
for doubt.
off on their way. Now, this gnome is spinning around on one of the many blades here. We could stop into turn-based mode. He's disappeared. Well, you can stop it into turn-based mode in the right moment and shoot him down if you wish. But we're going to try and rescue him. Now, they would have had to have stopped the mill to get him up in the first place, so we should be able to stop the mill to get him down.
Everything looks new.
And if we come round and investigate the back of the mill here, we can see 2 levers, a brake lever and a release brake lever. So we'll hit the brakes. And whilst we're here, we might as well do a little bit of looting. So we've got some goblin weapons that I'm not so interested in. But I will take 2 Alchemist's Fire. Deals 1d4 fire damage per turn to any creature it hits. And there's some rum, a grease bottle, and some grilled Roth ribs. It's kind of like a buffalo type creature. That's 15 camp supplies, which is pretty good going. So we'll leave the makeshift spear, climb back down the ladder. Hey, you can wait a few more moments, sir. So we can come back around the front and untie these bindings.
Cut me loose!
So they've been freed.
Magakabara. Those pustulant thugs. Well, get on with it.
Get on with what?
You saved me, now you'll extort me. That's how this works, yes?
You owe me nothing.
Nothing?
Astarion disapproves. He wants us to shake this person down for all they're worth. I could extort you if that's what you want.
You're teasing me now. I'm certain of it. Take my pack, if you can find it. The only reason those goblins caught me was its weight. I'll travel lightly from now on.
Right. Be away with you, sir. We complete the quest, rescue the gnome, get some more XP. Now, I just want to see...
Well, hello.
There was a glitch in, I think, previous patches, where now, if we start the windmill back up again, we have released the gnome. Nope, everything is fine. Previously, if you freed the gnome, then started up the windmill after freeing them,
Step quick.
you still got the cutscene of them being launched across the skies. But if we hop down into this hatch here, we can find the heavy backpack in question. How it got to be down here, I'm not sure. Some food and a smoke powder satchel. When ignited, the bag explodes in a radius of 6 meters. Targeted creatures must make a DC 12 dexterity saving throw or take 3d4 plus 9 force damage. On a successful save, the target still takes half damage. So that's a nice little explosive to have. There is also a pitchfork here and a shovel. Don't think we need any of that stuff. And we'll leave... we'll take a baguette. We'll have a rib and baguette sandwich for lunch, perhaps. So we are encumbered, our speed is reduced, and our jump distance is halved. But even when we are not next to an ally, we can still move stuff between our inventories if we wish to. So those heavy ribs, perhaps, and this heavy armor. So we don't need to be next to one another to do that, even though I prefer to treat it as if we would have to be close to one another to make such exchanges, but that's just my preference.
Moving.
So we've dealt with this area, but that does not necessarily mean that the rest of this location is safe. There may well still be other threats here, but we can see this goblin brawler that's walking along is marked in yellow on the map. So it seems that whoever was leaving told everybody else, hey, it's like these guys chill, we don't have to worry about it. So there's a waypoint there to fast travel back here if you want to. And over here there is a well.
Subtle steps.
If we walk over to that,
Apart from an overgrowth of moss, the well looks unremarkable.
and we can make an investigation. We can be helped out by some guidance from our friends.
Dry stones line the wall. At the bottom, something gleams in the dappled light.
And then we can climb down the bucket rope.
Let's not touch those webs or I'll end up as a meal.
Which webs? Oh yes, lots of other webs. So, common video game logic here. Lots of gross spider webs. You can infer that there is probably the threat of spiders here. So I think that's going to be something for us to look into when we are a bit more prepared. But we can see the corpse of this skeleton here. They have jewellery in gold as well as another short sword. And now that that is done, we can climb back up the bucket rope into the village. So that gives us one route down into the underground cave system there. But there are others if you can find them. But for now, here in the relative safety of the centre of the village, I think we're going to call that a session. And then next time we will look through a few of the dungeons around here perhaps. If you have any questions about anything that you've seen through the course of the session, or indeed any other D&D related questions or how they relate to Baldur's Gate 3, by all means put them in the comments down below. Otherwise, I hope you're having a wonderful day and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.